What if I told you that each of us is already a hybrid? That hidden in our DNA are traces of other species that lived on Earth tens of thousands of years ago? Sounds like science fiction. What if it's pure science? Welcome to our channel, where we explore humanity's most mysterious questions. Today we'll dive into a topic that makes scientists debate and ordinary people question their origins. Hybrid humans. Do they exist? Did they exist in the past? And most importantly, what does this mean for us? Prepare for a journey through the labyrinths of genetics, archaeology, and the boldest scientific theories. What you learn today might forever change your perspective on humanity. Let's start with the basics. In nature, hybridization is a common phenomenon. Horses crossbreed with donkeys to produce mules. Lions with tigers create ligers. Wolves with dogs produce wolf dogs. This isn't science fiction, it's biology. But what happens when we talk about humans? Here everything becomes much more complex and interesting. Homo sapiens isn't the only human species that ever existed on Earth. For a long time, our ancestors lived side by side with other human species. Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo floresiensis, they were all our relatives, but separate species. And this is where it gets really interesting. In 2010, a scientific breakthrough occurred that shook the world of anthropology. Scientists completely sequenced the Neanderthal genome. And guess what they discovered? Every modern human of non-African origin carries 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. This means our ancestors didn't just encounter Neanderthals, they formed families together. Imagine 30 to 40,000 years ago, somewhere in the caves of Europe or across the expanses of Asia, Homo sapiens met a Neanderthal. They didn't fight to the death, as movies portray. They fell in love. They had children who became our direct ancestors. But that's not all. In 2008, in Denisova cave in the Altai Mountains, Russian archaeologists found a tiny piece of bone, just a pinky finger bone. But this small fragment revolutionized our understanding of human evolution. The DNA from this bone told an incredible story. It turned out there was another human species, the Denisovans, and they too left their mark on our genome. Modern inhabitants of Oceania, Southeast Asia, and Australia carry up to 6% Denisovan DNA, and some populations in Papua New Guinea up to 10%. This means our ancestors were true travelers. They met, fell in love, and formed families with representatives of different human species around the world. But why do we need this ancient DNA? It turns out our ancient relatives gave us something very valuable. Neanderthal genes help us fight infections. They strengthened our immune system. Some variants of genes responsible for skin and hair color also came from Neanderthals. Denisovan genes gave Tibetans an amazing ability. They can live at altitudes over 4,000 meters without breathing problems. This gene allows their blood to carry oxygen more efficiently in thin atmosphere. It turns out that hybridization made us stronger, healthier, better adapted to life in different conditions. Today, scientists are studying the possibilities of creating hybrids using modern technologies. But here we enter an area where science borders on ethics. CRISPR technologies allow gene editing with incredible precision. Theoretically, it's possible to introduce genes from other species into human DNA. But should we do this? Some researchers are working on creating organs for transplantation by growing them in pig bodies with human genes. Others are studying the possibility of introducing genes that would make us more resistant to radiation or diseases. But this raises questions that humanity doesn't yet have answers to. It's interesting that stories about hybrid creatures exist in cultures around the world. Ancient Greeks told of centaurs, half-human, half-horse beings. In Egyptian mythology lived sphinxes, creatures with human heads and lion bodies. Slavic folklore is full of stories about mermaids, half-women, half-fish. Japanese myths describe kitsune, foxes capable of taking human form. Perhaps these legends aren't just products of imagination. Maybe they reflect ancient memories of times when different human species actually lived side by side. Archaeologists regularly find remains that don't fit the standard picture of human evolution. Skulls with unusual proportions, bones with mysterious structural features. In Peru, mummies with elongated skulls have been discovered. In China, remains of giant humans over 2.5 meters tall were found. In Indonesia, hobbit bones were unearthed, humans only 1 meter tall. Each such discovery forces scientists to reconsider theories about how humanity developed. Perhaps the history of our ancestors is much more complex and interesting than we thought. Some people have genetic features that seem almost fantastical. The ability to see 4 times more colors than an average person. Immunity to HIV. The ability to hold their breath underwater for 20 minutes. Where do these amazing abilities come from? Perhaps they're traces of ancient crossbreeding that we don't yet fully understand. Where is the road of hybridization leading us? Scientists are already creating chimeras, organisms containing cells from different species. In laboratories, they're growing mice with human neurons, pigs with human organs. Some researchers propose introducing genes from other species into human DNA to prepare us for life in space. Tardigrade genes could make us more resistant to radiation. Genes from certain fish could allow us to hold our breath longer. But is humanity ready for such changes? Creating hybrids raises many complex questions. Where is the line between treating and enhancing humans? Do we have the right to change human nature? And what if these changes divide humanity into different species? Religious leaders warn about the danger of playing God. Scientists debate the safety of new technologies. And ordinary people wonder, what awaits our children and grandchildren in a world of genetic modifications? Around the topic of hybrid humans, many theories exist. Some claim that governments are hiding the existence of modern hybrids. Others speak of secret experiments with human DNA. Of course, most such theories lack scientific evidence, but interest in them shows how deeply the topic of hybridization touches human imagination. Real science requires evidence, experiments, fact-checking, and it's the scientific approach that helps us separate reality from fantasies. Yes, we truly are hybrids, carriers of genes from different human species. Yes, modern technologies open new possibilities for genetic modifications, but every step in this direction must be carefully considered and justified. So, hybrid humans, fact, fiction, or forbidden knowledge? The answer turns out to be more complex than we might have assumed. We are already hybrids, the result of ancient romances between different human species. Our DNA stores the history of these encounters, and our abilities are gifts from long extinct relatives. Modern science opens new horizons of hybridization, but with possibilities comes responsibility for humanity's future, for the ethics of our decisions, for the consequences of our actions. Perhaps most importantly, we must remember that we are already beautiful in our diversity. Each of us carries the legacy of millennia of evolution, encounters, and discoveries. The future will show which path humanity chooses. But one thing is certain, the story of hybrid humans is just beginning. What do you think? Are we ready for a new stage of human evolution? Write in the comments, hit like and subscribe to the channel. Many more amazing discoveries await us ahead. Today we've taken an amazing journey from ancient caves to modern laboratories. We've learned that each of us is a living witness to the great love story between different human species. In our veins flows the blood of Neanderthals who taught us to survive in harsh conditions. In our DNA are written the gifts of Denisovans who help us conquer the highest mountains. But the most important discovery is understanding that humanity has always been diverse. We didn't descend from one ancestor in one place. We are the result of countless encounters, unions, and discoveries that occurred across the world over tens of thousands of years. Modern science opens incredible possibilities before us. We can edit genes, create new organs, prepare humanity for life among the stars. But with each new discovery comes new responsibility. We must remember that our strength lies in diversity, not in striving for uniformity. Perhaps the most important lesson of this story is that differences make us stronger. When our ancestors met representatives of other species, they weren't afraid of these differences. They embraced them, learned from them, created families with them. And this is exactly what made us who we are today. We stand on the threshold of a new era in human history. Possibilities our ancestors could only dream of are opening before us. But it's important to remember, whatever path we choose, it should unite us, not divide us. Each of you is part of this great story. In your genes is written the memory of your ancestors' adventures, their encounters with other species, their love and courage. You are not just humans. You are hybrids, heirs to a great genetic legacy that makes humanity unique in the universe.